Hi, this is Sarah from Sassy Reads, and today I'm bringing you my top 15 of 2015. This year I read a total of 118 books, which is quite a bit, but let's talk about my favorites. So at number 15 I have Saga, volumes 1 through 4 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Now this is a series that I can definitely get behind the hype because, well, it's pretty damn good. The writing is great, the storytelling is fantastic, and the art is definitely something to behold. I highly recommend it, and I'm hoping to get to Saga Volume 5 and hopefully Saga Volume 6 if it comes out in 2016, so they can be on my top 16 list next year. And then the next books on my list are number 14, The Belt by Ray Bradbury. The Belt is a short story by Ray Bradbury written in I think 1940s or 1950s, and it's about a family who has a room in their house and it's their nursery, and this nursery can turn into anything they want it to. And recently the nursery has seemed to be taking on some sinister qualities of an African belt, and I loved it. I'm really looking forward to reading more Ray Bradbury in 2016. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then number 13 on my list is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, and this is an audiobook that it was quite beautiful. Anne of Green Gables was a story that I had heard a lot about from the book community as like a classic that a lot of girls read when they were younger and they absolutely adored, and I just loved Anne of Green Gables. I thought it was a beautiful story. I think anybody will enjoy it, whether it'll be a boy or a girl. I think it's a great story, especially for younger readers, but also for older readers. I mean, I'm an adult and I enjoyed it. And then the next book on my list is Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. I read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote last year, and if you haven't read that, I also suggest it. But Breakfast at Tiffany's, you know, that movie with Audrey Hepburn, it's based off of Truman Capote's novella, and I absolutely adored this. I thought it was great. I love Truman Capote, and I highly recommend it. And then the next book on my list is Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor, which follows Mick and Zeus from the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. And can I just say that they are like the cutest couple ever, and Zeus's commentary and sarcasm slays. I love her. And then number 10 on my list is, to this date, my favorite audiobook of all time. And if you're going to read one audiobook in 2016, I highly recommend Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. Now, Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock is about a boy who takes a gun to school on his, I think, 16th birthday, and he is planning to kill himself and his old best friend. Now, it's so heartbreaking, and it's just such a beautiful story, and the narration is so amazing. I highly, highly recommend checking it out. Like, seriously, read it. Listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. Then the next book on my list is my foray back into Stephen King this year, Full Dark, No Stars, and this is a bind-up of 4 novellas, and I absolutely adored it. 1922 was my favorite in this collection, which is about a man who coerces his son into killing his mother. And then the other one that I absolutely adored was A Good Marriage, which is about a woman who finds something in the garage that disrupts her good marriage. And I love them. They're so good. And I can't wait to read more Stephen King next year. And then the next book on my list was a book that I've been owning for about 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that. And it's a book that I really had no intention of reading this year, but I'm so happy I did. Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. This is a great satire. It takes a great look at the political problems in our society when it comes to gender conformity, how women are looked at and beautified, and how the objectification of them is not all it's cut out to be. And also what race does within gender. And not only that, but it also looks at commercialism and how it's destroying girls' psyche and basically society in general. Highly recommend it. It's great. And then the next book on my list is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, which is a great novel that slowly looks at the dehumanization of humans. And I absolutely adored the way that this was done. I think that The Fifth Wave is something that is kind of overlooked, like just because it's a YA novel, but I highly recommend it. And then the next book on my list is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and Neil Gaiman's an amazing writer, and this story is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend checking this one out because I was blown away, and I know that Neil Gaiman's an auto-buy author for sure. And then the next book on my list is Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising, the last two books in the Grisha trilogy. And for me, Siege and Storm is my favorite book in the Grisha trilogy. I just love the arc of this story and how it flowed together. And I felt like it didn't have that second syndrome that a lot of books do. And it just flowed quite well, and I loved it. And then I know a lot of people hate Ruin and Rising, and I didn't love the ending like most people, but I still loved it. And even though it wasn't the perfect ending, it was still a great one. And then the next book on my list was a reread, Love in the Afternoon by Lisa Kleypas. This is a book about Beatrix Hathaway, who disguises as her friend Prudence, a girl who's really, catty and not very, I just didn't like her. And she pretends to be writing under her to Christopher Phelan, a war hero who thinks Beatrix is better suited for the stables. And I love this. Highly recommend it. If you're not sure where to start with historical romance, definitely with this one. Then the next books on my list are the first two books in a Song of Ice and Fire trilogy, a Game of Thrones, which is great, and a Clash of Kings. And I gave a Clash of Kings 4.25 stars, but if you're looking to start this series, I definitely recommend it. I know it's big, but it's not as daunting as it seems, and it's really great. Then the next book on my list is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and the next book comes out next month, not next month, but next year. I think in March, or maybe April. I'm really excited about it. I absolutely adored this Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it was so badass, and I just loved it. I'm excited. And then, if you're wondering what my #1 book of the year is Dragonfly and Amber and Voyager. Mainly Dragonfly and Amber, which gets the #1 spot of being my absolute favorite book of the year. It was so beautiful, and my love for the Outlander series has really grown this year, and I loved it so much. What were your favorite books of 2015? Let me know down below. Tell me if you have a video of your top 15, and I'll watch it. Bye!